it like you said, it's a different thing to play a character in a show someone else has written. But to just play yourself in a show that you wrote, it's different. It's vulnerable.
Life finds a way.
Life's not fair, is it?
Life moves pretty fast.
Life is a banquet.
Busy living.
What we do in life?
Way of life.
Life is pain.
Choose life and life you're proud. To live will be an awfully big adventure.
This is Richard Roeper. This is the Movie of Your Life podcast. Thanks for letting me crawl inside your head for the next half hour or so. Now, check this out. You know, late July, early August in Chicago, we always have Lollapalooza. We're home to Lollapalooza, but we have Laura Palooza coming very soon to Chicago. Laura Benanti, Nobody Cares, a one-woman comedy show from the mind of Tony Award winner Laura Benanti. It's got just 5 performances, folks, so you got to get your tickets at Steppenwolf's Downstairs Theater. I was just at a show there about a month ago. It's a beautiful, beautiful room, 1650 North Halsted Street in Chicago. Tickets are on sale at steppenwolf.org, or you can call the box office. Yes, there are still numbers where you can call a box office and a person will say, what would you like? And you'd say, I want tickets to Nobody Cares, 312-335-1650. Laura Benanti, Nobody Cares, but obviously audiences do care. Was there a moment, Laura, when you realized some of these, personal stories from your life were connecting with people in a way that surprised you and you thought this could be a thing?
I mean, certainly when I was writing it, I was hopeful that it would be a thing. The reason it's called Nobody Cares, though, is because when I started writing it, all I could think was like, nobody cares. Who's going to care about this? This is ridiculous. I don't know if like a middle-aged white lady is the voice the world is clamoring for right now. But then I realized that I have lived a lot of life. And I think young women really relate to and respond to a lot of the stories I tell. And it's sort of a cautionary tale for them. And then women and mothers my age, and then, of course, boyfriends and husbands who are dragged there against their will, love to tell me that. And then they tell me how much they loved it, which is nice. So I think what surprises me is that the audiences are so different. The people in the audience feel they're varied. The demographic is very broad, and they all seem to really enjoy all of the topics, which I'm happy about.
Do you find, I feel like throughout, whether it's film or TV or literature, Laura, that the mentor is so often the male. It's the male is the mentor. Even something like as great as Euphoria, when Zendaya needs help. Thank God, it's Coleman Domingo, so that's a good thing. But still, so this is something new, right? Where you're like talking about you're at that point in your career and in your life where you feel like you can give some advice and some cautionary tales to younger women.
Yeah, I call myself in a recovering ingenue because I started acting on Broadway when I was 18 years old. I played Maria in The Sound of Music opposite Richard Chamberlain, who was 70 years old. 'Twas a different time. And, then I went on to star in 10 more Broadway musicals playing ingenues. And that definitely seeped into how I lived my life. And that's what I talk about is sort of unpacking the ways in which ingenues and young women are told to be likable and not intimidating, especially as it pertains to men. And I think, obviously we see that across the board in our world and everything, and still in entertainment. A lot of times the women are the muse or the supporters, or in my case recently, the cougars. Play a lot of cougars now. Long-suffering wives, long-suffering mothers. So for me, I just felt like I want to embody a whole person, and I want to be able to share my experience with people. It's a lot about I'm a recovering people pleaser, which often goes hand in hand with being an ingenue.
I want to circle back here for a second. The Sound of Music, Maria, that's a love story with Captain Von Trapp, and Richard Chamberlain's like 1 degree from Laurence Olivier. It's like a complete, that's crazy. And nobody thought anything of it at the time.
I've always looked like a 45-year-old woman. There was never a time where I looked like a child or a teenager. So I think people didn't know how old I was. Certainly the audience probably thought, and I'm not exaggerating, that I was 30. But still, even one of the reviews was like, their age difference is apparent, but somehow not uncomfortable.
Says you. Yeah.
But he was wonderful to me. I absolutely adored working with him. I loved working with him. And it wasn't hard to pretend to be in love with him. And certainly, historically, young women did marry much older men, and it still happens all the time. But it's funny if an older woman is with a younger man, which is again what I've been playing a lot of, people are like, what? It's so unbelievably shocking. The double standard that we have for women is,
Yeah, Laura, over the years, I would trace, Michael Douglas, who I love, was a wonderful actor, but he would, for about 35 years, he was still the leading man in everything, whether they were murder mysteries or whatever. But his wives would just, they would go on to play moms and grandmothers, but he would, now you have Gwyneth Paltrow along, it would just be this steady thing. And you mentioned when it's a somewhat older woman with a younger man, that becomes the story. In none of the Michael Douglas movies does anybody ever say, hey, for 35 years younger than you guys have had a wonderful marriage. It's never a thing. It's just unspoken, but it becomes a storyline if it's the other way around.
Yeah. I mean, I did a film with Jennifer Lawrence called No Hard Feelings, where the premise is myself and Matthew Broderick, who are this 18-year-old young man's parents, hire Jennifer, who is older, 30 something, to basically make him feel confident in himself and sleep with him.
I meant to ask this on the phone, but how old are you?
Well, I know you were looking for someone early to mid-20s. I'm slightly older.
Right. How old?
I just turned 29.
Recently?
Last year.
So you're 29?
Last year.
And how old are you, right now?
1 more year older.
So 30?
Yeah, 32.
And that was the premise of the film. But the backlash to it was ridiculous. The amount of interviews where I had to give where people were like, do you think that's right? I was like, do you think every other movie in Hollywood where there's a 25-year age difference, but it's swapped the other way, do you have a problem with that too? Should we talk about that? So I find it really interesting that women are sort of not allowed to age, and still maintain a sense of who they've always been. And we don't bat an eyelash if it's a man.
And by the way, the scene where you and Matthew interview Jennifer Lawrence's character is a master class in beautifully understated comedic playing. All three of you are brilliant in that scene.
Oh, thank you. That was really fun. We have a lot of bloopers of us just really laughing a lot. That was a really fun scene to do.
I felt like we were almost seeing Ferris and Sloane 30 years later, and now look what they've wrought.
Totally.
So you talk about being a recovering people pleaser.
Yeah.
And, it's interesting because as we go through life now, Laura, everybody's on social media, on their phones and everything. And I think we don't want to confront anybody or we don't want to get a bad review on Yelp or DoorDash. So you find yourself, like for me, for example, I just took a lift over here to the studios. We're on the near west side of Chicago. And the driver is a perfectly nice person, but they're blasting music, right? Mm. And because the quiet ride is just like, it's like an elevator down button. It does close it. It doesn't work, right?
Exactly.
So I immediately go into this hotel. Oh, I'm so sorry. Listen, my mom is going to get some tests today and I'm going to make a phone call. I'm going to be on my headphones. If you could not mind I'm giving a whole backstory to saying, please turn the music. Do you do the same thing?
I would never ask him. I mean, actually now I would. 3 years ago, I would have just suffered. And now I'm like, is it okay? Do you mind? I'm so sorry. I realize how much too I start a sentence with, I'm probably wrong. Why would I start a sentence with that? But yeah, for me, it's actually one of the things I've been writing more stand-up too. And one of the things I talk about is if I walk into an Uber and it's freezing cold, it's going to stay freezing cold. I will never ask them to change anything about themselves. And I will also know everything about them by the time that I leave.
They also put a lot of pressure on you too. Sometimes you get the sign that says, do not slam the door. So then you're closing you're like, what does that mean? And then you don't close it enough and you're circling back and you're like, don't give me a bad rating. It's so much pressure but we're putting all of this on ourselves. We're never going to see these people the rest of our lives.
No, I will say the very high Uber score. It's 4.97 and I'm pretty proud of it.
I'm surprised you weren't the first person to break the 5.0 barrier with the way you
honestly, I know who it was too. He was an unsafe driver who I was like, you know what, sir, I'll just get out here. It had been like 4 blocks.
That's scary stuff. So, when we're talking about the show, Nobody Cares, but everybody obviously cares. It's at Steppenwolf, coming to Steppenwolf soon. What can people expect, Laura? Because, sometimes you hear a phrase, and I don't think you use it, but, like a one-woman show, and you're like, is this going to be Lily Tomlin's The Search for Signs of Intelligent Life in the Universe? Or is it, Fleabag in its original iteration? So what you don't want to give things away, but what can people expect?
Honestly, it's most akin to stand-up. It's most akin to stand-up comedy. It's autobiographical. I don't know if people know Mike Birbiglia's comedy, but his is very much about himself, his wife, his family. So that is part of my act for sure. But it's not a musical. I really want people to understand I will be singing no Broadway songs. So I don't want people to come thinking I'm going to sing from My Fair Lady. I am not. It is 14 plus. There is adult content, foul language. It is a true comedy show with original songs that I co-wrote with Todd Almond, who's my songwriting partner and creative collaborator. So, I think I'm just doing it to make people laugh. There is 2 like tender moments where I talk about things that a lot of moms have experienced, but we don't really say out loud because, we tend to be a culture of like, ew, women. So I talk about perimenopause, I talk about childbirth, I talk about pregnancy, I talk about being a mother. But I also talk about a lot of stuff that I think men can relate to. I actually have a song called Good Men about, how I do think it's hard to like be a good man in a world that really celebrates the other kind. And right now I do think we're in a little bit of a state of vilification of like all men, which is also dangerous because I don't want little boys growing up thinking they're just innately jerks and there's nothing they can do about it, because I don't think that that's true. So there's a song about that, which is, I just made it sound serious, but it's actually very, very silly and very funny. So I think it's not Lily Tomlin, I'm not playing a character. I'm playing myself, obviously, or I'm being myself. And I think they can just expect to have a good time, but do not bring your children.
For people who don't know, they should, of course, you're a Tony winner. You've been in all these iconic plays and big TV series, and we mentioned No Hard Feelings and other films. When you perform a role, though, on Broadway, and you've almost always invariably gotten great reviews, as you well deserve, but if you don't, you could always say, well, maybe the material wasn't quite perfect, or the director didn't get me, or the co-star. When it's you, it's you. So is that a vulnerable thing for you? Is that tough? Were you thinking like, okay, now this is just me that audience are either accepting or not, and critics?
Yeah, 100%. It is a very different thing. If someone doesn't like it, it can feel like hurtful because it feels personal, but it's making me put my money where my mouth is as a recovering people pleaser, because I can't be doing this show to please others. Obviously I want them to enjoy themselves. And I would say 90% of people do, but it might not be for everybody. I mean, honestly, I'm in London right now and I got amazing reviews, 5 stars, except from this one reviewer who's like a straight white guy who was just like, I don't like all the talking about her children and I don't want to, it wasn't for him. Some of the stories that I tell are about guys like him. So if I were him, I'd also be like, I don't like it. I don't want it. And I had one pang of like, oh no. And I didn't read it. My husband read it and he was like, Laura, it's not that he didn't like the show. It's just like not for him. And that's going to happen in this life. And I'm just really proud of myself. Honestly, I didn't cry. I didn't hold on to it for more than, 20 minutes. And I went about my day and now I genuinely feel fine about it. But certainly it, like you said, it's a different thing to play a character in a show someone else has written, but to just play yourself in a show that you wrote, it's different. It's vulnerable.
Well, I believe, Laura, that all critics should know what it's like to be on the other end of criticism. And, as someone who did a television show and succeeded the late great Gene Siskel. One of the things I found out was what it was like to get. So when people say to me, "Oh, you don't know what it's like to get reviewed," I'm like, "No, Entertainment Weekly gave me a C-." Not that I remember that from 25 years ago. Tom Shale said that I should spend less time in the gym and more time in the screening room. Not that I remember that, but I also got great reviews from Variety and everything. But it was a helpful thing for me to see what it was like, because my first instinct was, I'm going to win them over. And you can't do that, right? You can't say, well, I'm gonna come back to the show, give it another try, or I'll listen to that. You have to. But I think it takes a certain level of experience and maturity that you can handle something like that.
1,000%. I also have found, if it's an audience that's on the quieter side, my impulse is to really want them to like me, and I'm like, I can't do that. I got to let them come to me, and it inevitably is so much better than if I had been like, will you like me? Please like me,
Because audiences, they can sense that too.
They can smell it.
Yeah, even
They're
when
like dogs.
I mean, I get nervous every year, and you've done things like this, but it's like when I'm watching, whether it's the Oscars or the Tonys, I'm so nervous for the host because I don't want, and they're playing to a bunch of people in the industry that aren't really in the mood to laugh because they're nervous as can be. But there's millions of us at home, and I'm just always rooting for them to not be daunted if there's not a big laugh in the room.
1,000%. It's really, and press nights are like that too.
Mm-hmm.
So opening nights are notoriously awful, and you just have to keep going.
Nothing else you can do. We have to talk, of course, Melania Trump on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. Brilliant. One of the things I love about it is because it's so easy to just lean into the caricature, but then that gets old after 30 seconds. There has to be something there, and you did a brilliant job of that. When you're playing a real person or portraying it, even somebody who's as, let's say, enigmatic and maybe polarizing as Melania, do you still find some level of empathy there to help make the performance work?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think we are all Melania Trump. We are all just reluctantly married to him, hoping he doesn't screw us any more than he already has.
Well, that's just it. The last time you were in Washington, there was some sympathy for you, but this time it seems pretty clear that you're just grifting your own followers.
No, what? No, their money is just a gift to me, after all. You can't spell grift without gift, and you can't spell gift without if. But if will never become I because I don't give an F.
Okay, good to know.
So, I find empathy in that. For me, honestly, I don't have a ton of empathy for her. I think she's made her choices in life. But what I do feel is that it is an act of service for those of us who are like, what's going on, to be able to laugh. And the thing that we really did with this character is we made her sort of a Borscht Belt comedian. We did make her America, who's like, what's going on here? And, that she and Steven were in many ways in cahoots. So it's, while the first time I ever did it, it was more stayed. I was more really doing an impression of her as if it were a movie almost. And then over time, over 10 years, I turned into a buffoon, and it was so fun.
I feel like we know your Melania better than we know Melania at this point.
I know. And sometimes I feel guilty because I've made her very adorable.
Yeah, again, that's the danger. It's interesting because you think of every first lady since I've been alive, and you read the history book, you could always find, you knew who Nancy Reagan was because she had been in the public eye for a long time. And and even Pat Nixon, you kind of felt like, okay, she seems like she's a loyal wife and she loves her children. And then all through the years, and with Melania, it's really tough because when she tries, it makes it worse. Like, be best.
I think that no matter what side of the aisle people are on, I think we can all agree that Melania Trump never in a million years thought she would become the first lady of the United States of America. I do not think that this is a thing that she was clamoring for. And I will say, I do think she's done an impressive job of keeping her son out of the public eye. I think that's a really hard thing to do. She's obviously a really smart woman. She speaks 4.5 languages, she speaks 5 languages. 4.5. I didn't mean it like that.
Is that half the one that we hear?
Honestly, it's a great joke, but I didn't mean it.
Oh.
I didn't mean to make it. But yeah, so my intention was never to make fun of her. I make fun of him through her.
That's you just reminded me, Laura, of the Arnold Schwarzenegger told the story where Tom Arnold was going to have a baby later in life, and Arnold said, "Yeah, do a bad Arnold," but he was like, "Fatherhood is the greatest thing. I have 5 kids. Well, 6." It was just like,
My God,
terrible.
Hollywood.
We talked a lot about the show, and comedy seems to be something that you've leaned into more in recent years. Were you always funny? Did people have to tell you were funny?
No, it was always funny. But I was
from the
always
start,
playing
pal.
ingenue. Ingenues aren't really there to be funny. They're there to reflect the man. They're there to be in support, or to be the muse, or to be the person that everyone can sort of put whatever they want on. So, and I would always try to bring humor into every role that I played. And I do feel proud that I think that I did. I will say the Broadway show Women on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown was, I think, it was the first time I ever was allowed to play the clown. I wasn't the leading lady. I wasn't the ingenue. I was just silly. And I do think people went, ooh. And then I started hosting things. I hosted the Drama Desk Awards and I wrote them. And I started doing concerts where it's like Broadway music, but patter in between. And again, boyfriends and husbands would come up to me afterwards and go, the stand-up was my favorite part. And I realized, yeah, that is what it is. It's stand-up. And then when I did Meteor Shower, Steve Martin wrote a play called Meteor Shower that I did with Amy Schumer. And she was like, Laura, you're really funny. You should pursue this. And so I started doing it more in earnest. She's been a huge supporter of this show. Wow. She's seen it 2 times. She's really helped me. We're going to be filming it. We're filming the special. And she's helped me sort of organize that. So yeah, it's taken a while to get people to take me seriously as a comedian. And now I'm doing just straight up stand-up, which I'm really excited about.
One of the things I love about Amy and Nikki Glaser, but in both cases, they were working and doing really well for a long time, opening for big stars, doing the roads, going to the Improv before it really exploded for them. And in both cases, I know Amy a little bit. I love Nikki. What I love is that they've then paid that back. They went through all of it, and then I have all this clout now, and I have this power, and I'm going to help others. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And I think sometimes in all elements of show business, but sometimes particularly with women where they feel like it's a narrower lane, that you have to kind of say, no, there's room. I know, Amy Poehler's talked about this, Tina Fey, that there's room for everyone.
Yes. I will say Amy's one of the most loyal people I know. I mean, all of her best friends are still her friends from high school. She is so deeply encouraging of female artists. There's not a competitive bone in her body. She does nothing but like, you can do this. Let me help you. She's the best. And yeah, I do feel like if we're all climbing a ladder, if you get to the top of the wall, why waste your energy trying to, scrape everybody else off? Just lean over and pull everybody up one at a time. If we do that for each other, we'll just make more room. It's like the idea of there not being enough love in your heart for multiple people. There is enough room for everyone. I really do believe that.
Beautifully said. This is the movie of your life with Richard Roeper. We're talking to Laura Benanti, called Laura Benanti.
It's called Laura Benanti.
I apologized. I have a friend who's got the name I keep saying.
People always say Bernanti.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Don't be.
Laura Benanti, nobody cares at the...
Nope.
I'm so sorry.
I think you should keep this in. I think this is honestly hilarious.
You know who I'm talking with? It's Laura Benanti. She's with Nobody Cares, is the show. It's at Steppenwolf. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
The Movie of Your Life podcast with Richard Roeper is brought to you by Wayfair Theaters. Wayfair Theaters has 2 locations, one in Highland Park, Illinois, and one in Payson, Utah. For all showtimes, go to wayfairtheaters.com. Not only do they show your blockbusters just around the block, but live events and even live comedy. Remember, wayfairtheaters.com. Click on events to find all those special and unique opportunities near you.
Laura Benanti, a name that I have known and loved forever, and it's called Nobody Cares. It's at the Steppenwolf Theater. I got a few questions for the Movie of Your Life podcast I'm going to ask you if you don't mind, Laura. So the first is, what was the first movie that you saw that really made an impression on you as a kid? And not so much that, I want to become an actress, but just that you could just remember the experience.
Honestly, Horse Feathers.
The trustees have a few suggestions they would like to submit to you.
I think you know what the trustees can do with their suggestions. I don't know what they have to say. It makes no difference anyway. Whatever it is, I'm against it. No matter what it is or who commenced it, I'm against it.
I have two dads, not in the fun way, but in the like my parents got divorced way. So my my dad lived in New York City, and my mom and my other dad, my stepdad, and we lived in New Jersey. So I would go visit him in the city on weekends, and he would always play the Marx Brothers for me. And I just remember being like, this is so funny. When they're like, throw the, what is it? Tie the rope on the bed. Something like throw the tie out of the window. I just remember thinking, like, this is brilliant. This is so, so funny to me. And then dissecting the jokes and what makes it funny. That and Some Like It Hot. That was the movie we would watch over and over again.
Is there something you saw that you, in retrospect, realized you were way too young to have seen it when you were younger?
Ben Hur.
Ben Hur.
Yeah, my dad also made me watch Ben Hur.
Either you help me or you oppose me. You have no other choice. You're either for me or against me.
If that is the choice, then I am against you.
Were you for? I mean...
Yeah. I was like, this sucks. I hate this.
Yeah, well, understandable. Especially, it's interesting though, because sometimes we see and read things when we're younger, and we're like, why were they assigning us great expectations in 5th grade?
Oh my God, 1,000%. Where you're like, he is toxic as hell.
Yeah, exactly.
Why am I supposed to think this is romantic?
Yeah, exactly. Do you have, Laura, like a guilty pleasure film, something that you love that your husband or your associates, your friends think you're nuts for liking it?
One of my favorite films is the 1944 psychological thriller Gaslight, starring Ingrid Bergman. She won the Academy Award.
There was a letter. And it was from Sergius Bauer.
What was that name you just said?
Sergius Bauer. I found this. But my husband said I dreamed, and now it's here.
Bauer.
I don't think anybody is, they're just like, no, thank you. I don't really want to watch this. But I don't think I like anything where people are like, that's crazy. Princess Bride, I could watch that 1,000,000 times.
Thank you so much for bringing up such a painful subject. While you're at it, why don't you give me a nice paper cut and pour lemon juice on it? We're closed.
Sense and Sensibility with, with Kate Winslet and Hugh Grant and how am I forgetting her name? The most brilliant actress of all time. It'll come to me.
Well, there have been 27 Sense and Sensibilities and 44 Prides and Prejudices. So
I know, but this is the good one. This is the one from the 90s with Kate Winslet. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm mortified that I'm not remembering her name.
Is there, we talked about, comedies and horse feathers and things like that. Do you have that good cry movie that you go to, that you queue up when you just need that kind of cathartic experience?
Great question. I mean, Sense and Sensibility is that for me a little bit.
Is that the one starring Emma Thompson?
Emma Thompson. Thank God. Yes.
I've come here with no expectations. Only to profess, now that I am at liberty to do so, that my heart is, and always will be, yours.
That makes me cry. It makes me emotional for some reason. Anything with moms in it. Anything where a mom is experiencing a feeling will make me cry.
Laura, what about the movie-going experience? Like when you go to the theaters, which, by the way, it's great to see people doing more and more of that.
Yeah.
Is there a certain spot you sit? Do you have a go-to concession snack that you do?
Like a Junior Mint. And I do like a popcorn, although it's getting too salty. We need to chill out. And I like the butter. I like the fake bad for you butter. I like to sit in the middle. I can't be like this, and I can't go so far back because I don't want to hear that many people. You know, it's like I want to be close enough that I can see well. I'm not craned, but I'm also not hearing a lot of whispering because I can't do it. I have such good hearing. It just makes me angry. I even take out my junior mints ahead of time and I put them in my hand so I don't make a sound with the box.
I would suggest if you combine the two, which I have done, you drop the junior mints in the popcorn. Unbelievable, right?
Too loud. I have to go kernel by kernel. I don't want to do that to people.
You know, it's interesting. You say you have such acute hearing. Does that ever play into when you're doing a performance on Broadway? Will you hear that candy wrapper 47 rows back?
I will hear a whisper. I will hear a candy wrapper. I will hear the sound of someone getting up to go to the bathroom. Like it is, my vision is terrible and my hearing is, I'm like a bat. And it's not good. I have to have earplugs almost all the time. And my older daughter's the same.
That's a kind of a lesser Marvel superhero, you know.
Exactly.
Here's great, can't see much. Yeah, cheaters from reading the menu is not a great superpower, probably.
Correct.
I get that. Last question. If you had the chance to visit the set of a movie while it was in production and just be like a fly on the wall for a full day, any era, can you think of a movie or two you just want to see how they made it?
Ooh. I mean, honestly, Some Like It Hot, just because I love that movie so much. I've seen it so many times since I was like 5 years old. And I love all those actors so much. I think I would have liked to have seen that.
It is so drafty. They must be catching cold all the time, huh?
Will you quit stalling? We're gonna miss the train.
I feel naked. I feel like everybody's staring at me.
With those legs, are you crazy? Now, come on.
Oh, this is such an interesting question. Oh, God. Keep this all in, by the way. I don't want...
This is where we get the clicks and views.
This is the good stuff.
Where people are wondering if the screen froze or if you're still, cataloging the titles.
Yeah. Yeah. You can just name it. The portrait is perimenopausal woman thinking. I don't know. Maybe Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
I'm really into Lord of the Rings.
The ring was made in the fires of Mount Doom. Only there can it be unmade. It must be taken deep into Mordor and cast back into the fiery chasm from whence it came.
And I think I would love to be there to see how that got made. Or Harry Potter. That would be very cool too.
You get all of those.
Although I'm mad at her, so maybe not that. I'll go with Lord of the Rings.
Laura Benanti, thank you so much. Folks, go to the Steppenwolf and check out the play. We're going to have you here in Chicago in just a couple of weeks. We can't wait to see you on stage at the Steppenwolf. Wait.
One of my favorite cities truly in the world. There's actually a very funny Melania that we did during the Democratic National Convention that you should watch.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much, Laura.
Thank you.
Is that the Democratic Convention behind you?
What? No. What? No. Yes. Yes.
What? Wait.
Yes.
It is? Why are you there?
Oh, Stephen, I am trying to uncover the secrets behind the Kamala nomenon. Like her plot to attract voters by making them, what is this word? Happy? And what is this thing she does where she opens her face and it goes ha 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 ha?
It's called laughter. It's called laughter, ma'am.
The Movie of Your Life podcast with Richard Roeper is brought to you by Wayfair Theaters. Wayfair Theaters has 2 locations, one in Highland Park, Illinois, and one in Payson, Utah. For all showtimes, go to wayfairtheaters.com. Not only do they show your blockbusters just around the block, but live events and even live comedy. Remember, wayfairtheaters.com, click on events to find all those special and unique opportunities near you.